Welcome back. So, do you know who Robert L. Peters is? How about Robin Ware or JRB Ware? These are the known fake names that then Vice President Joe Biden used in several email exchanges. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is now demanding to see those emails. They are unredacted emails. He wants them released from the National Archives involving these pseudonyms, in addition to any interactions between Joe and Hunter with Ukraine and Burisma officials. This as some House Republicans are pushing for an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. GOP Florida Congressman Greg Steube has already moved forward with his own articles of impeachment, calling the Biden family's business deals treasonous activity. Joining me right now is House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. And Mr. Majority Leader, it's great to have you this weekend. Thanks so much for being here this weekend.
It's always great to be with you, Maria. Thanks for having me.
I'd like to know about these alias names of Joe Biden. What can you tell us about it? Was he using different names to conceal money moving into these 20 shell companies that were set up while he was vice president that we've heard about from the House Oversight Committee chairman?
Well, Maria, lots unknown on this still. You know, it was Jamie Comer's Oversight Committee that just uncovered it. We've been sending a lot of letters to a lot of agencies to get information. We've had whistleblowers, of course, come forward with some real bombshells that have created more stirs and actually caused the White House to change their tune on things. Remember, you know, in the early days for months, Karine Jean-Pierre said, oh, no, Joe never talked about business with Hunter, never. And she said it over and over and over again until we had whistleblowers come forward and said, not only did he talk business with Hunter, he went to dinners and lunches and coffees with business people that he was dealing with, and including foreign governments. And then the next day,
you know, it's funny how that works, because we've all heard them do the same thing when it comes to stuff, right? where they start off somewhere, but then over time they move the goalposts. They move it slowly but surely. Oh no, Joe Biden has nothing to do with it. He had no clue. Oh no, not at all. Oh, well, yeah, they might have had a conversation, but, you know, he didn't go into depth with it and blah, blah, blah. He didn't know the ins and outs. Oh, well, yeah, he did actually have, you know, they just move it. It's funny how that happens, how that works. But then Republicans are always considered, you know, the liars and cheaters and stealers and whatever else, you know, the left likes to say. But, of course, you know, the left always accuses the right of what the left is actually doing or is planning on doing. It's one thing I've learned throughout this journey. Let's continue.
Mysteriously, the White House changed their tune and said, well, he wasn't in business. And so I think you're going to see on the pseudonym, why would a president of the United States, or in this case, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, have fake names that he was using on his documents? We've uncovered this just recently, going through some of our back and forth with the National Archives. And again, Comer's committee has been digging to get this information. Now that we have it, and I think they would deliberately set it up to make it harder for you, me, the media, the Congress to find out any of this information. Well, we're now finding it out. And as we find it out, we're going to go back and look under more pseudonyms, look under this pseudonym. But it begs the question, why did Joe Biden use fake names? We know he used fake companies. All the shell corporations, a shell corporation is a fancy term for a fake corporation. And he was using dozens of them to hide over $20 million of payments to his family, not just Hunter Biden, his whole family. So there's a lot of dirty smelling corruption around all of this. And we're going to keep digging. We've got the Attorney General coming before Jim Jordan's committee on September 20th. And I think a lot of people are going to be interested in what he has to say. We have subpoenas out to a number of other FBI agents, but we still have more whistleblowers coming forward, Maria, and they're the ones that are really giving us the true background, because as we're hearing one side of a story from some of these federal agencies, the whistleblowers are telling us a different tune, and then when we get people under oath and we confront them with what the whistleblower said, they change their tune. Everybody's changing their story. The White House is, some of these federal agencies are. You know who's not changing their story? The whistleblowers, Maria.
Where is the
They're truth tellers, because the truth don't change. Lies do, though.
Impeachment activity? Are you in favor of an impeachment inquiry?
Yeah, and if you look at this, you know, and I've been talking to Jim Jordan a lot about this, because ultimately we go through his committee, the Judiciary Committee, because every time we find something, it leads to more serious questions.
So it sounds like the priorities when you all come back in September will be a potential impeachment inquiry, but also keeping the government open. Congressman, I feel like we've got another potential government shutdown looming.
Yeah, shut it all down. Shut it all down. Shut it down. Listen, I don't give up. You know, at this point, I don't. Because every whip stitch, they're sending money somewhere else. As a matter of fact, I even heard recently that there is a bill that they want to pass that has relief for Hawaii and funds for Ukraine wrapped up into one bill. Really? You sneaky bastards. Because what's going to happen is there's going to be some GOP members, some Republicans that are going to vote no for that bill. And then Democrats are going to turn around and say, oh, look, Republicans don't want funding for the people of Hawaii. And it is so dishonest. It honestly pisses me off because there's a lot of regular folks who don't read into all of this, who don't dig deep into all of this. And those are the types of games that these Democrats are out here playing. They wrap BS into something that's actually good. I'm sure all of the Republican members would vote yes on relief for or extra funds for the people of Hawaii, right? That just had their lives, literally turned upside down, literally to the ground, which is just absolutely insane. And I've heard some crazy stories about that whole situation and what's going on with that and what possibly could have happened regarding that and what potentially could happen next and what is allegedly happening. It's insane. If y'all want me to make a video on it, I definitely can. I feel like I'm a little bit late on that, so that's why I didn't do it. Thought about doing it yesterday, but it's crazy. But back to the topic at hand. They're such sneaky little snakes, man. And it's up to, once again, as I've always said, it's up to us to expose them slithering through the grass, because mainstream media isn't going to let, the regular folks out in the public know what they're doing. When Democrats are out here yelling and screaming, oh, Republicans voted no for funds for the people of Hawaii who lost their homes and blah, blah, blah. They aren't going to say, well, they didn't vote no on that. They voted no on the extra part that you put in there to try to sneakily send some money off to another foreign country. When in a time where most Americans are struggling, at a time where most Americans say no to doing that anymore, y'all want to sneak it in there and wrap it up into this one bill. And then when Republicans say no, you want to try to point the finger at them about this other thing. And it's just like, nah. So, make sure you guys are sharing these videos because the American public at large needs to get this real information. All right. Stuff is crazy.
You've got 12 spending bills, the appropriations process. They're still in limbo. Speaker McCarthy is suggesting a short-term extension of last year's spending priorities. But Axios is reporting that you may have a Republican revolution if that takes place. Tell me what happens here. Will the government run out of money?
We're going to take care of our responsibility to properly fund the government, but also to scrutinize this government. There is a lot of scrutiny that needs to happen with the trillions of dollars that have gone out the door, some of it fraudulently, where Biden doesn't even care. We've highlighted it. Fraudulent payments, in some cases, going to foreign countries, and they don't even care. This is your taxpayer money going to illegals, going to foreign countries, and yet they want to just keep blowing that money out of the door. So we're going after that, too, in these appropriations bills.
Well, Joe Biden wants more money. He's got a supplemental ask right now for $40 billion.
Why doesn't he take it, by the way, from some of the illegal payments that we've identified, COVID money that was supposed to be for people suffering from COVID, small business owners trying to keep their workers on the payroll. And instead, some of that money went to foreign countries. Some of that money went to people here illegally. And we've highlighted it. And the Biden administration doesn't care. They won't go after any of this. They won't work with us to go and claw that money back. The taxpayers deserve that money back. So if he wants to look for a place to find the money, there's one place right there, Maria.
Facts.
Wow. So in terms of the continuing resolution, is that what we should expect?
Well, we still have a few weeks left when we return in September to try to get agreements. There are some negotiations going on right now, even though we're not in D.C. we're negotiating on some of the bills we passed out of committee. If the Democrats want to work with us on reining in government spending and on getting some of these federal agencies under control who are out of control, then we have an opportunity to get some of that done right now. If they want to defend the status quo, we're going to have a big fight coming in a few weeks.
I hope Republicans drop their, cojones this time. They're nuts, all right, so to speak. Excuse my language, and actually do something. Man, sheesh Louise. Seems like the Freedom Caucus are the only ones that are saying a whole lot. You got a lot of other Republicans, which I kind of figured that out a while back. There's a lot of Republicans who I wouldn't say are true Republicans. Me personally, I feel like I figured that out when we had the vote for the Speaker of the House. And you had the Freedom Caucus, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, Donalds, I believe is in there as well. And the rest of the group that was all voting no. No. Consistently. No. Because that's what, Republican voters had wanted. We didn't want Kevin McCarthy. Nobody did. Except for the other Republicans that aren't in the Freedom Caucus, right? And you even had someone like, I believe his name is Dan, the guy with the eye patch. Is that his name? I believe his name is Dan something. Forgive me if I'm incorrect. But the Republican with the eye patch, who, if I remember correct, it was him, who was, calling Matt Gaetz, a traitor and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, yo, wait, what? You sound like a Democrat, son. You calling Matt Gaetz a traitor because he's trying to do what we want him to do, what the people are telling him to do, what polls have shown people want him to do, and he's a traitor? Make that one make sense. Please, Mr. Dan. There was even another Republican who, was getting all in, I believe it was Matt Gaetz' face. Because he was voting no. And I'm like, hold on, what is going on here? Y'all haven't, thought about voting for anybody else, at all? Nobody. Nobody. Y'all just, Kevin McCarthy, no matter what the polls say, and I took a poll amongst you guys on my Twitter. As a matter of fact, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, the link is down below. Or you could just go to Twitter and type in The Real Doc Rich. All right, all one word, The Real Doc Rich. On Instagram and Twitter, it's The Real Doc Rich. Okay, go and follow me. But yeah, I just found that really, really interesting and a head scratcher. One of those. I'm looking at y'all a lot closer now. You all really have my attention. You calling this guy a traitor. You getting in this man's face, yelling and screaming at him because he's voting no and doing what we want him to do. I thought you guys were supposed to do what the people that put you in place want you to do, not what the donors, rich donors, tell you to do. But anyway, I digress. Sheesh Louise. Biden, I feel like he's getting cornered. Now, I hope Republicans have a bit of strategy involved in this, right? Because I don't want them to take Biden down too early. And part of me feels like, Biden could be taken out a little too early. And I don't mean literally taken out, put in a pine box or anything. That's not what I'm advocating for whatsoever. I want to make that clear. I'm not advocating for any type of literal physical violence, okay? I mean, taken out of the race, out of the presidential race too early, via, any and all corruption that is and has been uncovered. I feel like this should be slow walked in the public, obviously not behind closed doors. Gather all of the information, gather all of the evidence, get the whistleblowers, testimonies, all of that, get it all on tape, footage, all that, the whole nine. And then you release it next year, 2024, leading up to the election, when it's too late for Democrats to say, all right, yep, Joe Biden, you're done. Because I feel like a lot of Democrats don't want Joe Biden. And I mean like politicians, like the higher ups, right? The elites don't want Joe. But Joe's saying no, I'm staying here. And Jill is saying no, we're staying here in this position, right? We're staying here. We're not going. I feel like it's them that's saying no. And if it were up to the establishment, they would have already gotten rid of Joe and would have pushed somebody like Michelle or Gavin out there, right? Some younger, fresher folks who, you know, a lot of people have said they want somebody younger. They don't want, you know, 70-year-olds in office and whatnot, which Michelle and Gavin Newsom would definitely fit the bill. So I think they would prefer to have them out there. So you got to be careful. I mean, do y'all agree with me? Let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'm an idiot. Talk to me, please. But this is just my perspective and my personal opinion. I feel like publicly you have to slow walk it. Behind closed doors, don't do it, right? Don't slow walk it behind closed doors. Gather all of the information as fast as you possibly can and get as much as you possibly can. And then you wait until next year to start unleashing the floodgates. And not even like January next year. Wait until, you know, I don't know, April or something, and you let the floodgates open, wide open. Hey, this is what we uncovered. This is what's been going on. Blah blah blah. This and that. You know, so it makes it harder for the Democratic establishment to usher somebody else out there in Joe Biden's place. But that's just my thoughts, my opinions on it. Y'all can let me know how y'all feel. I feel like Joe Biden's done. We caught him, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. Peace and love. I'm out.